Intro cue.
Okay, seems that that's our cue to get started. Good afternoon, everyone. How are you guys doing today? Yes, yes. Thank you very much for being with us today in this beautiful and very typical Seattle afternoon. My name is Welicki. I'm the Vice President of Product for Power Apps, and I'm joined by Anthony Uitz, Principal PM Leader in the team. And today what we want to talk about is building the apps of the future today with Power Apps and Copilot, of course. And the way in which we'll do it is we have a lot of innovation this time around in the product. But instead of going one after the other and showing how all the things play together, we will instead show them while building a real solution to a real problem. And the other thing that I wanted to mention is as we build that solution to that problem, all the things that you will see are live code. Nothing is recorded, Figma, all is live code. So with that, let's see how are we going to spend the next few minutes together. So first, we will start defining a business problem. And once we understand the business problem, we will devise a solution. We'll propose a general solution, which we will build in 3 acts. First, we will define a core application and create a kiosk application to be used in a factory. Next, we will create a management application that will be used in the offices of the factory. And finally, we will create a mobile app that will be used by the frontline workers in the factory. And after that, we will recap and we will close. So how does that sound? Sounds good? Awesome. So let's get to it. And to start with the business problem, instead of hearing it from me, in fact, I'm super happy and grateful to introduce you with Ramon Lima from 𝗦𝗽𝗀𝗀𝗍, who is going to share a real problem that they are facing and that we will be working on in the next few minutes. So Ramon, please take it away.
Thank you. Thank you, Leon. Thank you for the opportunity here. Hello, everyone. My name is Ramon Lima, and I'm from 𝗦𝗽𝗀𝗀𝗍. And I'm a Citizen Developer Program Manager. And basically what we do at 𝗦𝗽𝗀𝗀𝗍 is we have a specific process within Canada, within 𝗦𝗽𝗀𝗀𝗍 Canada, from the package business, right? And what we do there in that perspective is we basically fill up cylinders with gases, we distribute them, and then we go on into selling, right, these cylinders with gases. But besides that, we also have many different aspects there which are basically part of this process, which is we have maintenance in terms of parts, right? So we have parts there to maintain these cylinders, maintain the process. We have some safety parts there as well, right? That's all part of this world there of filling up cylinders within Canada, right? And the biggest problem that there is there today is regarding managing these parts, right? How do we go about managing these parts, right? It just becomes a big hassle, a big problem, because nowadays we don't have anything to manage that in real time. So thinking about that, we have 2 different perspectives to this problem. One is the operational side, right? So the operational side is basically the person out there in the field, right? How they can easily go about, putting out that they need this part, right? They need to use a specific part. They need to approach this problem, right? Into using this part in the live fashion. And then we also have the other side, which is the management, right? So the management side, they need to know and they need to understand in the live real-time perspective the parts that are being used, what's needed, right, within these multiple sites. So basically, I was thinking about how we can solve this type of problem, right? And I was thinking about basically an inventory system, right? How we can have an inventory system to solve this type of problem. And since I'm a Citizen Developer Program Manager, right, I work with Power Platform, I was thinking, well, maybe we can leverage Power Platform, right? Who knows? What do you guys think?
What do you all think? Can we use Power Platform? Yes, right? Yes, of course. Yes, and this is what we'll do. So recapping, we need to create a modern inventory management system for millions of parts across multiple business units, enabling 𝗦𝗽𝗀𝗀𝗍𝗀 to stay at the forefront of sustainability and efficiency, which we will do using a combination of Power Platform and Copilot. So again, we are going to, remember that we said we were going to establish like an outline of how we'll build the solution. So now is the time. So we'll start from files, emails, manual work, all kinds of things. And we will use the Copilot to create a relational database in Dataverse. And once we have that database, we will put it in a managed environment, so we can have more visibility and stay in control of what's going on and establish policies and whatnot. And once we have our Dataverse secured, that's when we are ready to create the apps. And we will create the 3 apps. First, the kiosk app for operators in the plant, which we will check into the ADO. Then the back office app for desktop, for the managers of the plant. And finally, the mobile app for frontline workers, which will have a custom Copilot, and we will roll out using Intune. So that's what we will do. So let's start with the first one, creating the core application, the first app. And how many of you find yourselves in this situation of you're going to create an app and you start with the data model and in a whiteboard try to define what will the app look like, right? How many of you are fine in this? Yeah, a lot, right? Yeah, myself too. I used to write a lot of enterprise apps. So what we will see is how can we use the Copilot to get the data model ready and the starter app ready. So let's just get to the product and take a look. So the way to do that is basically asking the Copilot to build that for us. So this is what I'll ask the Copilot. Create an app for inventory management of equipment with their parts. The equipment is used in multiple plants in multiple locations. And with this, the Copilot will be able to understand my prompt and create. I'll have to try it again, but that's fine because it's a live demo. That's the proof that this is a live demo, actually. So I'm going to try again, but this time it's going to be awesome. We'll do it even better. So let's do it. Let me get to it again. And as I was saying, I'm going to ask the Copilot to do this for me, and it will create the data model that is going to be a set of tables, and for each table, it will define a schema populated with sample data and establish relationships between the tables. And it will do it in a matter of seconds, which is a thing that takes quite a while. So we got it. We got a plant that has equipment that has a part. Notice that not only define the schema, but also establish an entity relationship diagram of all the tables and how they are related. And of course, I can continue my conversation with the Copilot. So what I'll ask the Copilot to do now is create a table for equipment incident. Because I'm modeling the plant, but no problems are happening here. So look, I had a problem a minute ago. Probably in the plant they will have as well. So I'm asking to create like a table for equipment incident, which the Copilot will create. It just did. And let me show you. It created the table, defined a schema, and populated with sample data, all with generative AI. Now, notice that the Copilot did not connect the table, these incidents to equipment. And I could ask the Copilot to do it, but I can do it manually. Because with this data workspace experience, I have full control over what's going on. So I can either point and click as I'm used to, or I could converse with the Copilot to get things done. A few more things that I can do. I could evolve the schemas, as I mentioned. So I could ask the Copilot this time to add notes, description, price, and brand column to an equipment. And just asking that, the Copilot will add those columns and populate them with sample data. And I could ask more things like, for example, add more data, add more columns, remove columns, give me suggestions. But I think at this point, once it comes back, I'll be good. So I will save the app and generate, I will save the data model and generate a starter app, which is what you're seeing here. So basically, after the Copilot created the data model, it also creates a starting application that has multiple screens. A landing screen that you're seeing here, and one screen for each one of the tables in the model where you can interact with the data. This application works on tables, so in tablets, desktop, and mobile devices, and fully functional, fully wired to the data with just a couple of prompts. So we got an app in a few minutes with just a couple of prompts. So let's see what's next. So now that we have our app, we want to make it look closer to the Lindy standard. And what we will do to make it happen is we're going to use all our modern controls and themes. So let's take a look. I'll go ahead and add a new screen. Oh, first, before adding the new screen, let me show you something that is even cooler. I will go to the themes, and I will add a new theme that I'll call it Lindy. So I can define a theme for my application where I can set the font, the color ramp, in this case, is going to be a shade of blue, which is what they use. And also I can get a preview of how this theme will be applied to all the controls in the app. How cool is that? So once I do this, that's how all the controls are going to be shown in my application. The next thing that I will do is I want to create a list of things, for example, list of equipment that works on any device. And I'll do it super quick because I'm going to use one of the modern templates. And check this out. I'm going to add a header. So with just one click, I have the header for my app, which of course the logo is going to be Lindy's logo. So this part is done. I'm going to add a table control, which I'm going to connect, for example, to equipments. And once I do, the Copilot is going to pick all the fields that I should show automatically for me. So look at this. I did it too fast, but you would have seen that the fields were picked by AI. And I need to do 2 minimal adjustments, which I'm going to do, that is such that the app adjusts to the container in which it's embedded.
That's cool, huh?
And one more thing, I agree with that, actually. I'm going to create a small toolbar. I'm not going to make it fully functional, but I want to show you something that before could not be done, but now is super easy. So I'm going to add a couple of buttons here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add the buttons to a container, which I'm going to, of course, make smaller. And for each one of these buttons, now you can add images associated to the buttons. I'm going to add an icon here for new, and another icon for delete. So as you could see, doing something like this in the past would have taken me quite a bit, but not with the modern controls. I could do this very, very quickly. And with the modern controls on the Copilot, even quicker. So I'm trying to find one more property, and I'm going to run it, which I cannot find, this one here. Let me show you what will happen. As soon as I run this application, when it's on a full screen, it looks like a grid. But if I render it on a phone, it looks like a gallery. So in a few minutes, connecting a few controls with the Copilot and all of that, I created a fully responsive application that can work in any device. But I would like to go further and make this app look way much cooler than it is. So the next thing that I want to do is, I want to do it, but I don't want to do it alone. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to ask Anthony here to help me make that app much better. And the way in which I will do it is using our new co-authoring and co-presence that we have in Power Apps. So basically, you can edit Power Apps like you do with Office documents. So I can see what others are doing at the same time and whatnot. So let me show it to you in the product, because it's super cool. So basically, the way in which it works, I'm here back in the app, and I ask Anthony to come to the app and to make this welcome screen much better. So you see, I can see that Anthony is already in the app. And if he moves around, I will see him moving around the app. For example, he's in the, well, he's moving a lot, actually, but now he's in the welcome screen. Not only I can see where he is, but I can see what he does. So basically, probably, I'm hands off, so to prove that I'm not touching anything, but he's changing the images to make it look much better. And in fact, if I would make any change, he would see it too. So you get a co-authoring experience similar to the one that you get with any Office document and any collaboration document that we have in the rest of the company. So Anthony's making it great, and what I'm going to do now is, we could watch Anthony for the next 10 minutes making this great, but probably we don't have that much time. So I'm going to fast forward to when the app is fully created, and it looks awesome. And this is our app, where basically what we did is apply more of these modern themes and modern controls to the application. So it's the same app, but a little bit updated. Now, I see in the app that there's a comment, and that comment is directed at me, and it's from Anthony, saying, please make the text red of the incident if it's more than 2 days old and not resolved. So basically what he's asking me to do is, if this text, if this is more than 2 days old and not resolved, to make it red. And there's no problem. So the way in which I'll do it is, I will come to the Power App Studio and add the Copilot to help me with that. Oh, I cannot find it. I'll find it eventually, I promise. So make red if the incident is more than 2 days old. So I write the comment, and just by writing the comment, the Copilot will generate the expression for me automatically, just like we do in GitHub. So writing Power Effects has never been easier. Write the comment of what you want, and we will write it for you. So in this case, I will accept the comment, and that's all I need to do. Also, Power Apps is not great only at creating Power Effects, it also can explain Power Effects. So in this case, for example, I have a gallery that Anthony added with the top items, and probably I don't fully understand this expression, but I don't have to, because I can ask the Copilot to explain me this formula. And it will explain in natural language what it does. So with Copilot, you can create the behavior of your app using just plain natural language. Now, I know what many of you are thinking right now. This is great, but as a developer, I really like have full visibility into the full scope of the code of my app, and Power Apps is a little bit opaque. I cannot see what's going on. But if that's what many of you are thinking right now, we have some good news for you. So what we are doing is we just added a code view that is applicable to every screen or fragment of a screen, where you can see the full code representation behind any one of the screens in a format that you all already know, that is YAML. So this format has all the properties, all the elements, and all the power effects all in a single location, which, by the way, you can treat as a plain code file, so you can check into any repo or any source code control of choice. In this case, I checked it into ADO, but you could check whatever you want. And basically then, I clone the repo and I open this in Visual Studio. So I have this open in Visual Studio. Let me show it to you briefly. Where basically you can edit, and I don't have it open in Visual Studio yet, but I'm going to do it right now. Oh, I do. So I have it in Visual Studio, so you have the same structure of the app, which I could see here, and I could edit here as well if I wanted to. How cool is that? Yes, and if you think that's cool, let me show you something that is even cooler. So check this out. Here I have this piece of YAML, because you could copy a piece of the UI and paste it in a file, and you will get the YAML. But also here I have a piece of YAML, which I'm going to copy, and I'm going to back to Power Apps, and I'm going to paste it in a special place of my app. Let me make sure that I understand where I want to paste it. So I want to paste it here. So I'm going to paste it here. And basically, this will get that code and paste it as a set of controls. So basically, you can copy controls to code, code to controls, and it just works. In this case, by the way, I added the Copilot answers control, which is a new Copilot control that we added that is in preview and you can use, that you can ground on a prompt. In this case, I'm asking it to tell what's the top priority incident that the operator needs to look, because this is an app for a kiosk. So one more thing before we move on and run the app. Let's say that you want to have a Copilot in this app, because every app deserves a Copilot, right? Basically, if you have a Copilot in Copilot Studio already created, it's super easy to connect it to your Power App. You come to the settings of the app. Oh, if it comes back, you come to the settings of the app and you can connect your app to a Copilot instance. So as easy as saying settings, Copilot, and connecting to one Copilot. And that's all you need to do. Now you have all the power of Microsoft Copilot Studio in your applications. Everything that you can do there is now available in your app. So let's switch gears and run the app. And this is what it looks. It looks pretty nice. Remember that this is an app that we want an operator to run in a tablet, in a kiosk. So it has big buttons that you can push and whatnot. At the top, you have the top incidents that you should be paying attention to with some status. At the center, you have all these big buttons. And here you have the top priority incident that you need to attend. So from the outset, this app is intelligent. As soon as you come to it, it's telling you what you should be taking care of based on generative AI understanding of your data. But that's not all. Let's say that you are at the end of your shift. And at the end of your shift, you might want to type a note for the next operator that comes back. And typing notes is very tedious. But with Copilot, we make it easier than ever. So basically, every time that you have a text area, we have this draft with Copilot that you can select. And I can give it a summary of what was the summary of the day, basically. I have 2 incidents for the broiler, false alarm with pump 1 upset employee, no accidents, false alarm that impacted productivity. So basically a very terse summary of the day, not even in proper English, that the Copilot will transform to prose. So let me show you how. Just asking that. This is very, very terse still. So I could say, hey, make it long and friendly, or maybe professional. Let's keep it professional. So I'll do that. And now the Copilot gave me a better write-up that I could continue tweaking. So basically, every time that you have text that you need to produce, the Copilot comes in context to help you. And we have more and more features where the Copilot comes to your help in the context of what you're trying to accomplish. One more thing, because we connected the Copilot So the Copilot is going to be there through the session to help you do whatever you need to do. So this is the Copilot that we connected, which again, we already saw how to use the Copilot on our data. So I'll show you that I grounded this Copilot on the corporate website from Lindy. So I'm going to ask, what is Lindy's mission? And because the Copilot is grounded not only on the data, but on the corporate documents, it can start answering questions about corporate procedures, policies, or whatever I ground it into, thanks to the power of Copilot Studio and generative answers, in this case. So with this, I'll go back to the presentation, and we finished our first act. We built the app, and if you want to learn more about our developer features, we have 2 more sessions in the next couple of days, one tomorrow in this same room. The other one is Thursday, where we will go in depth into how to use Power Platform and our product stack. But now switching gears, we'll go to Act 2. And what we'll do is we'll create a back-office application. And this back-office application is very simple. So in Power Apps, we have something that we call model-driven applications, where basically you can connect a Power App to a data set, and it will create forms over grids of data in seconds. There's nothing special there, no Copilot, no Gen AI. That's how it works. What we made much better is we are trying to make those forms and grids over data special. So let me show you a few things. So here is the model app. For the ones who know Power Apps, nothing special. Model-driven app from all life. The experience is a little bit nicer, a little bit better, but it's the same model-driven that you all know and love. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to run it, and I want to show you a few things. The first thing to notice is that we have a Copilot in the model-driven app at the right-hand side, ready to drive me through the day. And this Copilot is already trained in all the data in the app and also knows how to navigate the app. So I could ask things like, for example, not this one, because this we already asked, but I can ask things like, what is the city with more plants? And basically, it will look into my data and tell me that Toronto is the city with more plants. I could ask again, list the plants in Toronto. And it will go ahead and find those plants, list them, and not only list them, I can navigate to the plants. So basically, I could go to an individual plant, or there's a view that is created on the fly. I could even ask, show me all the, and we have help to create the expressions as well. So I could show me all the equipment incidents. And the Copilot will know how to help me navigate the app. So basically, the main idea is that we have a Copilot there, ready to help us work on the data, analyze the data, make complex questions on the data, but also navigate the application. And this happens automatically. There's nothing that as a maker you need to do to enable this. It's just there. Now, in addition to that, and I could continue asking complex questions, but I think you get the idea. Basically, the main idea is the Copilot is grounded on the data, and you can ask questions about any shape or form of your data, or navigate your app, and the Copilot will do that for you. But there's one more thing that I want to show you that I think is very cool. So I was working, remember that one of the things that Ramon was saying is that this is an inventory, and we have parts. And part of the work is entering all those parts, either manually or with a tool or whatnot. And entering things manually is very tedious. One of the features that we just introduced is Copilot helping you with automatic form predictions. So basically what the Copilot will do is understand my context, what I was trying to do, what I was doing, and with that information, predict a set of fields in my form and give me values. So let me show you. I have a few parts here. I'm going to create a new one. And I'm not sure if it shows very well in the screen, but as you can see, some of these ones have been predicted by the Copilot. And this prediction is not like the form autocomplete that is always hard-coded. This is based on what I did, on the context of what I was working on, what I was using. And more, we are using that context for creating experiences that are tailored to you. So basically, I have a bunch of predictions. There are a few things that I can do. I can either accept them all, accept one by one, or ignore them. For example, if I decide to leave, the Copilot will let me know, the tool will let me know, hey, are you going to discard these suggestions? So what I'm going to do is accept them all. And basically, as you could see, I could accelerate the input of data significantly because, again, the Copilot is showing up in context and doing things for me that otherwise I should have done manually. So recapping, model-driven apps, we are making them smarter. You have a Copilot on your data, Copilot to navigate and get through the app, but also Copilot that helps you fill up the data based on what you do. And with that, we are getting to our third act. That is building a mobile application. So let's do a little bit of a recap of what we did so far. We created a data model with the Copilot. We gave it a prompt, and it created an entity relationship diagram populated with data and created the tables. Then we created a starter app, and then that app, we continue evolving it. We use our modern controls and themes, but then I didn't want it to do alone, so I asked Anthony to help me. We make it look awesome. We added the Copilot. We checked it into ADO. We looked at it in Visual Studio and whatnot. And then we used it, and we saw that that app had intelligent features. Make life easier for the users, not only for the makers, very important for the users of the app. Then we created an app for the people that sits in the office managing the data. Again, we infused intelligence in the app. We added the Copilot that understands the data, that knows how to navigate the app, but also can help us populating the data. Now, in the third act, we will create a mobile app for people that are working on the plant and are moving around, and they have mobility, so we'll do one for frontline workers. And Anthony is going to walk us through the creation of that application. So Anthony, all yours.
Hi, everyone. My name is Anthony. I'm here to walk you through building a mobile application using Power Apps. For those of you familiar with more traditional mobile application development, it's quite a complex process. You have to build applications that work on your phones and on tablets, on different operating systems like iOS or Android. You have to make sure they work offline, that they work well on low-end devices, like maybe a cheaper phone you buy. And they have to make sure that they work wherever your workers go, and so that data is available offline. And you want to make sure that you can deploy them to your workers in a custom branded way, right? And this is quite time intensive, quite costly, and quite a large operation. You need a whole team usually to do this. But with leveraging Power Apps, we can make that whole process much easier, much more cost effective, and let you focus your time as a developer on the fun parts, on making the UX, making the experience, writing the logic behind the application, with Copilot Assistant, of course. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to build an application. I've already built the framework out. Lets you use a couple of device capabilities to help you do your job better as a frontline worker. So you walk into a space, you're going to scan the parts you're using to find it out, look at the information in the stock levels, and then use that as part of your repairs, right? And so I have a simple application here that shows off just a pretty simple parts list, and we're going to go ahead and add a barcode scanner into that. One of the key pieces that we're showing off here is that you can bring that barcode scanner, that native device capability, in line with the rest of your UI, because now we've enabled your UI that you use with Power Apps to render fully natively. So for those of you who've used Power Apps before, you might be used to running the mobile side in the web view, right? It's a hybrid app. But using this new feature that we call Optimize for Devices, we take all the UI that lives in your screen and render it fully natively using React Native on your device. So we're going to go ahead and add that barcode scanner. There's a bunch of other stuff we have out of box, so you can use mixed reality to do things like measurement or marking up space. We have artificial intelligence and so on. We have camera capturing, all the good stuff you'd ever need to build a mobile app. But we're just going to add the barcode scanner for now. I'm going to make sure I'm putting in the right part of my screen here. OK, so we're going to go ahead and add the barcode scanner. And we want to hook this up and make it full screen and all those things. We're going to put it in, set the height to be flexible, and we want to move it up to the top. And so rather than having to find the right library you want to use for barcode scanning and make sure it's reliable and all those things, we have it available in a single click out of box. Of course, because we're used to working in the hybrid world, you couldn't have this live side by side in the past. You had to have it, so you pressed a button, it would launch the barcode scanner, you would scan, you go back to the application itself. Now with native UX, you can put this directly in line, which we're going to do, you're going to see to have that wired up. But first we want to, of course, make sure that it actually works and does what we want it to do. So we make sure that when we take that scanned barcode, we save it as a variable, and then use that to filter the gallery appropriately. So we're going to say set scanned code to the first barcode scanner that we have, the first of the barcodes that we scanned. And then we also want to, of course, reset the text label. So for those of you familiar with using Power Apps, you have to reset the text label so that it shows you the part. So we're going to do that part search _1 and reset that. And so what this does is we now have that variable coming in, and then we're going to put that as the text label's input, which is then used to filter the gallery. So if we go ahead and test this by clicking on it, you can see it entered in the number here, and that uses it to filter the gallery. So just like that, we tested it in Studio, but you'll see on device in a second, we have this barcode scanning working perfectly. We're also going to make sure that it's going in line, so we have to change, of course, the scanning mode to be scan inline instead. And so we've now brought a native barcode scanner in device perfectly as well. The other part that we talked about is offline. So I'm going to show all the kind of authoring side stuff and then jump into the device. But for offline data, you might have lots of different pieces of data in your application. So in this case, we have all the parts, all the incidents, all the equipment, all the plants. But if you're familiar with frontline workers, they spend a lot of time on the go and in places that don't have great internet connectivity, right? Maybe in the bottom of a factory floor, maybe traveling through the Gobi Desert, wherever they might be. And so you want to make sure that app works perfectly offline as well. And so traditionally, you'd have to figure out, OK, how do I use like SQLite maybe or some other kind of local DB? How do I write all the sync service and sync logic? How do I handle conflict resolutions? It's a lot of work to make a robust offline engine. In Power Apps, it's literally one click. So we go into settings, well, I guess 3 clicks. We go into settings, and we go into general, and we say can be used offline, and we just toggle this to on. We'll generate a profile for you and add a screen. And that screen includes an icon that has all the things you want to know about the sync logic, displaying that, and we can also show you that information on the device as well. And so rather than having to think through all those different pieces of a robust engine, you can literally use one click to take your app and bring it offline as well. So that's super awesome. The last piece is that you'll have to custom brand and deploy your app. And so we have this thing called wrap, and I'm not going to go through the whole process as it's a bit of a lengthy one, but you can use our new wrap wizard to find the app you want to have and then run it through the entire wrapping process. So you can say, hey, I want to use this logo, this icon, this custom branding, and it gives you the IPA, AAB, and APK files that you can then use to deploy to your app stores however you'd like. And so you get full control over your Canvas app and how it gets deployed to your applications, but still all the same kind of paradigms and practices, shared device mode, all those great things that we offer in Power Apps. So now I'm going to go ahead and jump back to the actual app on device. So we're going to go ahead and see my phone display here. I, of course, started on this screen so I could show my cat that I just got 2 months ago off first, most importantly. But also you can see the custom branded icon here of the incident apps we just built. So we're going to jump here. I'm also going to open up the barcode we're going to scan that will kind of move over to the side here. So as you recall, we took that barcode scanner in a single click, added it kind of in line, and now we can show native UI UX. Oh, I need to sign in. No one can see my password real quick here. Give me a moment to go through my authentication process. I need to stop mirroring because it's blocking the dialog from popping up to sign in. Give me 1 second. Bear with us as this is a live code demo. So what we're going to see on device is that we're going to have an application that's responsive by default. So I can put it on tablets or I can put it on phones. It's going to render that device, that UI, natively for the different platforms using React Native. So if you're on iOS, it would show iOS-specific UI UX. And if you're on Android like I am, you'll see some Android-specific UX. We'll also see that barcode scanner inline so that you can scan barcodes directly next to your gallery process. Now that'll all work seamlessly as well. And so let me recast. Appreciate the patience as we go through some technical authentication challenges here. OK. We should be back to the app. No one saw my password, which is always useful. Great. So that's the app that we have here. It kind of shows you a top-level view of your work orders or incidents that you have today. We're going to go ahead and see that we can go ahead and see the offline status. So this is what I was talking about before. Rather than having to figure out all the different parts and processes behind that, you can see that we show you the tables we have downloaded, all the storage we're using, your current sync status, any conflict scenarios you have. We give that all to you for free. Even better, and kind of newly announced at Build today, we have this new Copilot icon. And what that does is that same thing that Leon showed, where you brought and connected your MCS, your Microsoft Copilot Studio backed app chatbot and Copilot, you can use that same thing here, but now with a voice. So I can say something like, after it loads the voice, what's my next work order? And so by using my voice, it's now the same thing that we've configured in the background with Copilot and figured out, oh, you have an urgent request to express the compressor and get that figured out as there's been some signals going down, right? And so we use voice and Copilot together with your custom Microsoft Copilot Studio Copilot to make your frontline workers more productive by bringing the information to their fingertips. And they're working, of course, offline as well. The next what we want to do is kind of scan that barcode. So this is the screen I just built. You can see we have that barcode scanner inline. And even better, we have that native UI UX as well. So when I tap the date, it uses the built-in Android date picker rather than having to use whatever custom UI you want. You can use native components that are more performant and responsive as well. And so we can go ahead and scan that barcode in line. I'll just bring that back up. And then tap it. And as it showed before, it filtered that gallery down to the one I just scanned. So you can see now that we have a native rendering app using native UI UX. It works offline, so your data works even without connectivity. You can deploy it as a custom rendered icon to your application. And you can use Copilot for your frontline workers, your custom Microsoft Studio Copilot bot, using voice as well, all in a single, quickly built mobile application.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And with that, we got through the 3 acts, which is awesome because we got in time, which is first one thing that we are very excited about. But couple of things that I wanted to mention as well. So we mentioned managed environments. How many of you here, a quick show of hands, are familiar with managed environments? Awesome, like a big chunk. So for the ones who are not, I would strongly recommend to take a look at managed environments. With managed environments, your admin can have more visibility and more control with less effort over their Power Platform estate. And you get a lot of, like a whole set of great features to be able to control your Power Platform like rollouts. And basically, every month, it gets better. And also, we are creating managed environments to be the control plane of the future in the age of Copilot. So if you didn't try it out yet, please do. It will make your rollout of Power Platform significantly, significantly easier. And that's our recommendation for governance, security, and compliance. Another thing that I wanted to mention is, in general, one of the feedback that we hear very often is people would like to have an opinionated guideline on how to implement and roll out Power Platform. How many of you had at some point an interest of seeing something like that? Because if you do, I wanted to introduce you with the Power Platform Well-Architected Framework, aka 𝗦𝗽𝗲𝗀𝗻𝐴. That's available now. And it's similar to the Azure Well-Architected Framework, where basically you can use, like, you can get a set of patterns and practices and guidance on how to roll out Power Platform into your organizations. And of course, at this point, we went through the 3 acts, we defined the app, we created it, we did it all together. So I wanted to invite Ramon again to tell us, to share some thoughts around implementing or creating complex solutions like the one that we discussed with Power Platform in the context of companies like Linde. So Ramon, please take it away.
Yeah, so Linde is the Linde Industrial Gases Company Engineering. And the mission is basically to make our world more productive. And after seeing all this that Anthony showed, that Leon showed, I think it's just like awesome innovation. And for us, adopting Power Platform has been an experience that has basically helped us to innovate more, has helped us to be more productive with our citizen developers, with our developers. So it's been a very awesome experience. And now with all this that's been presented by Leon and Anthony, now I sort of have to take this back, right, to Canada, to the package business, and present all this so we can move forward with it, right?
Wonderful. Yeah, absolutely. So thank you very much, Ramon. Thank you for being here. By the way, Ramon flew all the way from Brazil to be here with us today, so huge thanks to him. And again, just to recap, we set a complex challenge. Actually, we went a little bit fast through all of this, but we did more than 15 to 20 demos in this session. And we had more things to show that we thought that would not fit. But basically, the key idea is that we pick a very complex challenge. We started from scratch, and we went through it. And with Power Platform and Copilot, very quickly could create a very compelling, modern, intelligent application. The main idea, as you know, I mean, our mission at Microsoft is to empower every person and every organization to accomplish more. And we do believe, and I do believe firmly, but I know that the team believes that, and all of us believe in Power Platform team, that Power Platform plus Copilot is one of the biggest enablers to make that mission a reality. And with that, I think we got to the end of our time together. So we are going to be around in case that you want to chat a little bit more or have any questions. Like, here are some resources in case that, I mean, you can scan this QR code. But again, we'll be around, so if you guys want to have any questions or want to hang out, please reach out. So thank you very much for being here. Really appreciate the time, and thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of Build.